Hey gang, this is Greslin and we're back here at the Sanctuary Test Area to talk about a new video, the new mod I just released called Weather Report. And Weather Report deals with a problem that you've probably been living with so long you don't even think about it anymore. It has to do with weather, obviously. And the problem is that all the cells in all the loadable areas in the game, which are called cells, all the loadable areas in the game are either internal or external cells. We're in an external cell right now. We're out here in the wide open. If I went down into the sanctuary root cellar back there, I would be going into what's called an interior cell. And that puts me in a different weather pattern, which is usually a non-weather pattern. Um, but so if I'm out here and let's say it's rad storming, and I go back into the sanctuary root cellar, it, obviously the rad storm's not going to follow me in. Now, the issue is if I'm down there in my little sanctuary root cellar hidey hole, and let's say I've slept for 6 hours, 5 hours, whatever, I have no idea what kind of weather's going on out here. We have a clear blue sky, which is nice. We're very enjoyable. You know, sanctuary is usually very enjoyable. But depending on where you are in the game, and even depending on the situation here at sanctuary, uh, there could be a rad storm out here. There could be anything out here. And especially if you start messing with other weather mods, there could be anything out here. So if you're down there in your little hidey hole, you might want to know what kind of weather is going on outside before you come out into it. In the vanilla game, and up until now, the only way you could really do that is just going out and saying, oh, I'm getting irradiated now. This is a rad storm. I think I'm going to go back in my hole and sleep for a few more hours. That's the only way you could check the weather. And so this mod came about as part of from a conversation that was happening on the Greslin Games Discord about that problem and trying to figure out ways to be able to check the weather outside when you're not in that cell. Because when you're in the sanctuary root cellar, this whole area is not even loaded in memory. The weather doesn't exist, so there's nothing to check. So it is, as far as I know, impossible to literally check what weather is going on outside. However, you can pull off a little magic trick and actually create a simulated effect so that you can have that as a game mechanic without actually having that as a literal reality. And that's what Weather Report does. And let me show you here. It's configurable in MCM, of course, because I'm an MCM freak. And what Weather Report does is it gives you a little device. Let me go over here. It puts a little device into your inventory in the aid menu called Weather Checker. Now, if I click that, if I'm outside somewhere and I click the Weather Checker, I will get current weather condition, and it will check the condition as it is right now, and it will tell me what the weather is. And that's all it will do. There are four general types of weather in any area. There's clear, which is what we have right now, rain, cloudy, which is also foggy, and snow, which is also the rad storm type. Um, at any given time, one of those four is in service. When you go into external cell or when it's time for the vanilla game to re-roll the weather, each area of the game you're in has a localized climate setting, which is a collection of weather types that it can choose from. It it decides which of the four weather types is in service, and then it goes out and it picks one of the weathers that correspond to that weather type in the localized climate records and applies that weather. Well, again, if I do this, if I hit weather checker, I get clear. All that's doing is just telling me the weather type that's happening right now. That's all it's doing. However, If I instead went down to the sanctuary root cellar into an interior cell and hit weather checker, it does something very different. And before I show you it in action, I want to adjust some settings here. Uh, let's let's cut the time duration. I'm going to explain this in a minute. Let's cut the time duration down to a half an hour so that I can just remember that I just remember here that the time duration of the weather forecast can be adjustable anywhere from half an hour to 12 hours. Just keep that in mind here. And I want to bump up our chances of rad storms significantly. We're going to make rad storms, like I said, rad storm and snowy weather are the same. But I'm going to guarantee a rad storm. And, all right. And again, you can change the odds for snowy, rad storm, rain, cloudy, and clear. You can set different odds for daytime and nighttime because you might want fog to be more of a nighttime thing, so daytime may be more likely to burn off. And all right, that should do that. And I'm going to explain all those MCM controls in a minute. All right, so let's go down to the sanctuary root cellar. Remember, clear blue skies. Now, it's clear right now. It makes sense that if we pop down and come right back out, it's still going to be clear. So let's do that real quick. All right. Again, the weather outside no longer exists. Now, if I say weather checker, it should tell me clear. Yeah. Okay. So we're getting a weather forecast right now. It says the weather's still clear outside. Let's go upstairs. Clear blue skies. Okay, let's go back downstairs. Now we adjusted the timer to be a half an hour, so we're gonna wait here until 6 p.m. And what what the weather checker tool does is it gives you a forecast. Uh, if you're outside, it just tells you what's going on right now. Now, if you're in an interior cell, it gives you a forecast, and that forecast is good for a random period. In again configurable in this configurable right here. It can be anywhere from, this is all in-game hours. This is not like real time. This is in-game. It can be anywhere from a half an hour to a total of 12. I think that's where I got the maximum. Yeah, up to 12 hours. And when you get a weather forecast, again, the duration of the weather forecast is set right here. If there is not already a forecast in service, it will randomly roll one using those odds that you just set in MCM for the different weather types. And if you go back into an external cell anytime within that the forecast duration window, it will pull a weather out of that type and enforce it. So if I checked the weather forecast, I think we're still in the window. We will be for another 15 minutes. But if I check it right now, we'll still get clear. Yeah. Uh, if I roll next time I roll it, it should come up with a rad storm, and we're gonna go outside and take a look at the rad storm and verify that it actually happened. What reason why we're waiting at the moment is because there's a it roll when you move from an external cell into an interior cell like this. If that timer's not already rolling, and that's important, if the timer is not current, if there's not already not a forecast in service, what will happen is it will take whatever the current weather is, and it will go ahead and create and start the timer rolling. That will be the forecast. So it will preserve the outside weather for that duration, and it won't give you a forecast again until that duration's passed. So It was clear outside. We come back inside, and it's going to stay clear for a half an hour, and then you can get a new forecast. So let's see, what are we? How are we doing now? Getting closer? No, let's get out of the pit boy. Uh, Let me think here. Okay, if you go out and if you go outside and you have not gotten a forecast, there's no forecast in service, the vanilla game just handles it. It just picks whatever weather it wants to and throws it out there. So basically, what you got here is sort of the Schrödinger's cat, the thought experiments where you put a cat in a box and it's both alive and dead at the same time until somebody looks at it, and until somebody opens the box and looks at it, and then it's one or the other. This is kind of what we're doing here with weather. We have no idea what kind of weather is outside because right now the weather doesn't exist. You can go out there and look for yourself, and the weather pops into existence, and you just take your chances. Or you can look in the weather checker box, and it will roll a weather, and then whatever it rolls, you're stuck with for whatever the duration is. So it could be clear blue skies, it could be a rad storm, whatever it is, you're stuck with it. Um, that's the price of looking into weather checker box. Let's see, are we getting closer? 6:16 p.m. Okay. So now that clear forecast should have expired. Let's hit a weather checker. There we go. Now we're detecting snow and or rad storm. Again, and we know how long the rad storm is going to last. It's going to last a half an hour because we've got the MCM control set for that. But let's look outside. Look outside. Now we got a rad storm. No. Okay, so now we got a rad storm upstairs. Weather checker is going to continue reporting a rad storm, and we're going to keep in the rad storm now for another half hour. It should be over by, I don't know, 6:15. It was before. Let's try about 6:45, and then if we're still waiting, we'll try at 7. Again, we go back to the mod config. Hoping any of this makes sense. Again, you can adjust the time duration for the forecast. Right now, I'm just demonstrating this. This is why it's down to a half an hour. The defaults are 1 hour. It's anywhere between 1 in-game hour and 6. The Again, this is you can select the individual odds for each weather type. This feature right here, automatic weather reroll. If you turn this on, whenever you're in an interior cell, if the timer expires, normally what will happen is when the timer expires, it will revert back to the indeterminate state, uh, which is the state where weather report just lets the vanilla game figure out the weather. Uh, if it will show up when you do a forecast, if it's in an indeterminate state, it will say the weather's unknown. That basically means for whatever reason, weather report is letting the vanilla game pick the weather. Now, if I turn this on, what will happen is every time the timer expires, if it expires when you're inside, not when you're outside, but when you're inside, if that's turned on and the timer expires, weather report will just automatically re-roll the weather check, and it will quietly generate a forecast and give you that. So this is good if, I mean, basically what's going to have to happen is if you've got, say if you got this thing set to 6 hours, and so you end up with like a 4 hour rad storm, you're just going to sleep through that. You're going to sleep through it. You're going to wait through it. And when the timer expires, after you've finished your nap, it will, normally it will just revert back to letting the vanilla game. It'll go back to unknown and it'll let the vanilla game roll the dice. If you've got that turned on, you'll wake up from your nap and Weather Report will simply have a new forecast. And then, that's the one you get. Again, but this only happens if you're inside. If the timer expires while you're outside somewhere, it just reverts back to the vanilla the weather selection. All right, how are we doing? 6:30. Okay, yeah, now that we're doing this, okay. I'm gonna take the odds down to 0. No more snow. But let's give ourselves some rain. 6:32. I know we've only waited for 15 minutes, but no, we're still rad storm's still going on. 6:36. Should have put a chair down here, or slept for half an hour. But alright, see if that does it. Alright, we're now getting a new forecast. And right on time, right on odds. We got a rainy weather forecast. And right and perfectly. Weather report, impeccable forecast. And what we're going to do now is we're going to cut the odds, rain down to 0. I'm going to skip fogging today. And I'm just going to guarantee that the next forecast will be another beautiful day. So now we're waiting another about 15 minutes in game. But it's still raining outside. There are a few things I would still like to do to this mod. I would love to add some sound. Oh, that's not what I meant to do, damn it. I also got there's a little UI glitch there. I'm gonna fix that. Wait another minute or two. Okay, 7:16. Now it should have expired now. Now if it's expired and I go outside right now, the weather is in unknown states. So the vanilla game is just going to roll whatever it rolls if I go outside right now. However, if I check the forecast first, it's now forecasting clear. So for the next half hour, I'm guaranteed to have clear weather. And we are back to clear weather. So that is my new mod weather report. Like I said, I've got a little UI glitch that I'm going to fix. It's not serious, but it's just a little annoying. And I would still like to maybe add some rain sounds. If I can do that intelligently, I don't know that I can. I don't think rad storms make sounds, but rain might be nice. And so that's probably as far as this mod's going to go. I'm sure other little edge cases are going to pop up on different regions, but for right now, that's kind of the extent of weather report. As usual, you can find weather reports on the Wrestling Games Discord. and it's just look under the other mods section. It's hashtag weather report. We're at version 1.01, and yeah. So if you're tired of having to actually go out and suck down rads to tell whether there's a radiation storm outside, download a weather report. It will fix your problems. And I'm going to start using this in my frost run, and generally I've designed it for use with survival immersion builds, but you can use it in vanilla. You can drop it in the middle of the game. You can pull it out if you want. It's self-contained, so it shouldn't conflict with anything. It should be a pretty clean mod. And that's Weather Report. So hope you enjoy it. Hope you're having a good day, and I will catch up with you next time I got something to talk about. And in the meantime, take care.